All right. Hey, listen, welcome back. After a few hiccups, we're here. Anyway, this is a continuation of a file reading of the Operation Encore investigation led by the Department of Justice. And in this file, it's regarding Adel al Sadan and Mutaib al Sudairy, who facilitate the arrival of Khalid al Mihdhar and Nawaf al Hazmi in Los Angeles. And so I took out this piece of the Operation Encore, and I wanted to basically talk about it and what does this mean in regards to what this means in regards to what these people were doing inside the United States and who helped them. Well, a little bit about Adel Sadan and Mutaib al Sudairy. Now, in this case, I'm sorry, in this case, Mutaib al Sudairy and Adel Sadan are emissaries of Muassad al-Jarrah. Now, Muassad al-Jarrah is the director of the Islamic Affairs Ministry in Washington, D.C. He's in charge of hiring all the imams in the United States at these madrasas. And what the FBI found out was that Muassad al-Jarrah had connections to Islamic militant groups, one of them being Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda. So Muassad al-Jarrah got Adel Sadan and Mutaib al-Sudairy from Saudi Arabia to act as emissaries inside the United States who are overseeing an operation. And that operation involved a number of individuals named in the document, including some you heard of: Fahad al-Tamari, the lead imam at the King Fahd Mosque in Culver City, Los Angeles; Omar al-Bayoumi, who helped to give residency to Khalid al Mihdhar and Nawaf al Hazmi; Osama Basnan, a avowed militant who praises bin Laden and also threw a party for Sheikh Omar Abdul Rahman, the co-leader of the Gamma Islamiyah in Egypt, and who was later arrested and found guilty for facilitating a plot on bombing New York City landmarks, and that operation was called the Landmarks Plot. So let's read here together. FBI investigation conducted through Operation Encore uncovered two additional individuals, Adel Sadan and Mutaib al Sudairy, with a past connection to the subjects of Operation Encore. Those past subjects are, of course, Omar al-Bayoumi and Fahad al-Tamari. Redaction: along with telephone and financial analysis, indicates that al-Sadan and al-Sudairy may have assisted in laying the groundwork for the arrival of al-Hazmi and al-Mihdhar in Southern California, and served as an advance team to vet those who would later assist both hijackers. So this operation included the head, Muassad al-Jarrah, his emissaries, Adel Sadan and Mutaib al Sudairy, and the assets like Fahad al-Tamari, Omar al-Bayoumi, Osama Basnan, and others, to facilitate and to give financial and logistical support to two known Al-Qaeda operatives, known by the CIA and the NSA, who protected their identities from the FBI and the State Department. Right there, you have an illegal operation. Thank you, Donald Canestraro. And these two men helped to hijack American Airlines Flight 77 that crashed in the Pentagon. So, al-Sadan and al-Sudairy previously came to the United States in June of 1999 as employees of the Islamic Affairs Office at the Embassy of Saudi Arabia in Washington, D.C., and had direct contact with Operation Encore subjects Fahad al-Tamari and Omar al-Bayoumi, who assisted two of the 9/11 hijackers in Nawaf al Hazmi and Khalid al Mihdhar with living, financial, and travel arrangements while they were in Southern California in early 2000. Although al-Sadan and al-Sudairy never had direct contact with the 9/11 hijackers, that's how you create compartmentalization, al-Sadan likely met with al-Tamari in person in 1998, approximately 1 year before the hijackers arrived in the United States. And both al-Sadan and al-Sudairy met with al-Bayoumi in 1999, who assisted them during their 6-week stay in San Diego, approximately 6 months before the arrival of al-Hazmi and al-Mihdhar. This contact, paired with analysis of call records and travel patterns during the time the two hijackers were in Southern California, indicates that al-Sahan and al-Sudairy may have served as an advance team who helped to arrange people to assist al Hazmi and al Mihdhar during their time in Southern California, and the rest of it's redacted. Well, that's exactly what they were doing. They were acting as the eyes and ears for Mutaib al-Jarrah, who has direct contacts with Islamic fundamentalist groups and Osama bin Laden and al-Qaeda. And as you can see, the FBI subsequently requested and received approved redaction, long redaction here. The FBI has no information to suggest that either al-Sahan or al-Sudairy is an operator. That is, that they present a direct threat of violent terrorist activity. However, if al-Sahan and al-Sudairy are currently involved with the facilitation efforts on behalf of al-Qaeda or al-Qaeda affiliates, the FBI has assessed that the following them to travel to blank. Okay, there is no hypothesis here. There's no theory, because according to the same FBI, in the same Operation Encore, it's later asserted that Mutaib al-Jarrah was known to have direct contacts with Islamic militants and Osama bin Laden and al-Qaeda. So that would mean that al-Sudairy and al-Sahan, both acting in accordance with Mutaib al-Jarrah and the Saudi Arabian government, who were paying the salaries of Omar al-Bayoumi inside the United States, also paying the salary of Mutaib al-Jarrah at the Islamic Affairs Office in Washington, D.C., that there is a nexus, which also involved the CIA, because that's who they were sharing information with. Did they share all the information with the CIA? We don't know. Let's not make up stuff we don't know. Would it benefit Saudi Arabia to hide stuff from the CIA, including a direct attack using airplanes on specific targets? Yes, it would, because who did we go to war with? Saudi Arabia's enemies, Iraq, and later Syria and Libya. Now, we're talking about the big picture here. We're talking about geopolitics. We're talking about foreign affairs and foreign governments and the long-range programs and what this means to destabilize the Middle East, leaving Saudi Arabia as the sole superpower for the Muslim community, or the Ummah. Meanwhile, there's nothing Islamic about Saudi Arabia. They're the fathers of Wahhabi Islam, which created groups like al-Qaeda, Abu Sayyaf, Jamaat Islamiyah, Boko Haram, and the Islamic State in Levant. And they could talk about modernization and evolving all they want to appease their Western masters. But they can't, because the basis of the country is founded on the principles of Muhammad ibn Adel Wahhab. But let's not go all the way there. We're talking about Operation Encore here, right? Okay, that's the end of the video. All right, we do now know that there was a Saudi government nexus, well, working on behalf of the Saudi government, that involved a number of individuals labeled by the Department of Justice as having connections with terrorists and terrorist groups abroad. One of them being Osama bin Laden and al-Qaeda. And that we now know that Mutaib al-Sudairy and Adel al-Sahan are both connected to Mutaib al-Jarrah, and they were acting on his behalf in helping to coordinate the operation of the arrival of two known al-Qaeda operatives in Khalid al Mihdhar and Nawaf al Hazmi, known because the Saudi Arabian government told the CIA that they were al-Qaeda, that they were traveling through the country buying guns, that the CIA knew about these two men being al-Qaeda, going back to Yemen and fighting against the Russians in Chechnya in the early 90s. This is all reported by the FBI, by the CIA. It was the NSA initially who got the phone call out of the Yemen household, which was the Yemen hub, owned by Ahmed al-Hada, where they heard a phone call between a known Islamic militant and organizer, Wali bin Atash, also known as Khalid, talking to somebody in the house and talking eventually to Khalid al Mihdhar, known as Khalid, and also Nawaf al Hazmi. Later, his brother, Salim al Hazmi, was also in the phone call. So the NSA knew about this. So did the CIA. But they didn't tell the FBI everything. The Saudi government knew these two men. But did they tell the NSA and the CIA everything? We don't know. What we do know is that they knew these two guys were Al Qaeda. And that right there is huge. Because as long as they know that they were Al Qaeda and they kept this from the State Department and they kept this from the Department of Justice, hey, we got a case here and we can hold people accountable. We need enough people to bring attention to this resoundingly important information. All right, guys, listen, glad to be back. And let's keep the fingers crossed I don't lose another channel. But I'm rebuilding a new YouTube channel. If I don't get the old one back in, say, 3 weeks' time, this is where all the stuff is going. I'm not going to upload all the playlists yet, but I got enough on here. But we're going to keep doing more new stuff. And I promise you, I will not stop reporting to you without prejudice and bias, because the only thing that matters is the truth. And a public that has information, and a public that is knowledgeable, is a public that can take action and hold people accountable. Okay, guys, see you later. Have a good weekend. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.